want to support the platform just in case anything like this happens again, you can do it by way of PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, and also by the Anchor. And you can also further support the platform by way of going to the Teespring store or the shoe store that is located in the comment section below. All right, so let me just catch people up ahead of time, right? Just in case people can't fully hear the video, even with the captions directly listed. You're going to hear a black woman state the reasons why it is that she treats her son the way that she treats him. She's also going to list that she hates the father of her children or her child and that she can't stand him, all these other types of things. And because of that, this is the reason that the son gets treated the way that he gets treated. And this is also going to fall into the whole other aspect of the videos that I've done, specifically pointing towards mothers, but being even more specific when I do videos pertaining specifically to black women and stating that you need to be out here teaching these young girls about value of self, respect of self, and knowledge of self. You need to be present and more present in these young women's lives so that they don't end up like this and then turning around and having sons treating them a certain type of way. And then those sons then grow up because of that mother treating women a certain type of way because of how he was treated by his first interaction with a black woman of who he loved.
My son is not coming home today. At this point, I don't even know if I want him to ever come home. I really hate his dad, and it makes it so hard for me to like and care for him the way a mother should. Y'all will probably drag me in my comments, but I have to live in my truth. My baby daddy was bragging about how he took my virginity, and he kept bringing up old things that aren't even co-parenting related. So I told him that I was his best friend first, and that I never cared about him. I hate co-parenting with him because he won't let go of the past. We've been broken up for 10 years now, and honestly, being with him is one of my biggest life regrets. But how do you look your own kid in their face, knowing that it's impossible for you to fully love them the way a mother should because you hate their dad? The disagreement was so stupid and simple, but it resulted in my son showing up to school 4 hours late. Usually I would remove him from the situation, but this time instead of taking him away, I'm making him stay.
So, what you were just able to witness and hear was a fact of a black mother who stated that the worst regret that she ever had is the man that she slept with in order to have kids. And also, in that regret and in that hate, she also hates the child as well because the son is a reflection of the father. Even though the child, the son, is completely separate, even though the son is a part of her DNA and his DNA, she still looks at him and sees the father. And she admitted that she cannot treat him the way that a mother should be able to treat her son because of the way that she specifically feels about the father. She stated that, oh, well, he was bragging about the fact that he took my virginity and yada, 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 and all this other type of stuff that has nothing to do with co parenting. So I was finally fed up and I wanted to hurt him back, even though I don't really see how him bragging about that is, in a sense, a thing that is deemed negative, as if calling somebody directly out of their name. If I had a significant other and they bragged about, in a sense, taking my virginity, it is what it is. I'm technically happy that that person was able to do it because I'm obviously with you. I love you, all the other type of stuff, right? But she, for whatever reason, saw that as some type of negative or whatever it is. And she was like, well, I'm fed up with this. So really, you weren't the first. Your best friend was. And then also, I never really loved you anyway. So she did that initially because she was childish and because she wanted to try to put some type of hurt directly on him for whatever reason. And now she is stating, well, I haven't been with this dude for like 10 years, and basically the relationship is in a sense what it is, at the moment in time because you in a sense caused it. Now he might have mentioned she didn't, like I said, she didn't mention everything, but she said was like, hey, he was mentioning some stuff that had nothing to do with co-parenting. Well, you guys had a child together, you guys had a relationship, so I'm pretty sure that he's going to talk about things that don't have anything to do with the child. This is what happens. There's only so many things that you can literally conversate about when it deals with a child before it gets repetitive. So the conversation moved into something else because more than likely, maybe he might be still interested in you. Maybe he might be still reminiscing or different things of that nature. But the main reason I wanted to highlight that part is due to the fact that you have a lot of women out here, you have a lot of mothers out here who do not deserve to have a son. They can have a daughter, that's cool, right? Because your daughter's going to be a reflection of you. But you don't have a right to have a son due to the fact that if you are quote unquote hurt or you hate the father of the child, within that, you're going to hate the son as well, and you're going to treat the son a certain type of way because you got control over that one. You don't have control over him. So no matter what you decide to say or do, it's not going to directly impede his life and hurt him the way that you want it to hurt him. But you got control over that son though. So whatever hurt that you weren't able to dish out to him, whatever hate you weren't able to dish out to him, you're going to make sure to do that to his reflection, which is his son, which is the main reason that I sit up there and state that a lot of these women don't need to be out here having kids and just laying down with dudes and then turning around saying that the dude ain't this, the dude ain't that, he ain't a father, and yada yada yada. When you got mothers like this that admit, I treat my son a certain type of way because I have a certain type of hatred, a negative feeling about the father. And you got a lot of men running around with hurt, not because of the world, not because of the women in their lives, but specifically because of the one woman, the first love that a little boy ever has. Because that woman decided to put something directly on him that was undeserving. That woman decided to put a whole bunch of emotional baggage and all these other types of things on that child because she is unhealed, because she is jaded, because she is broken, because she has unresolved issues, because she never sought any type of help, never went to any type of therapy, or never even tried to really talk it out to somebody who is willing to listen. So now that child has to sit up there and walk around with that trauma and not even understanding specifically why it is that he has to walk around and carry that trauma.
Another one.
So before some of these comments start rolling up here talking about what about the father? Where was he present, and how come he wasn't doing anything? How come he wasn't trying to help out? How come everything is directly on the mother? I want you dummies in the background to pay very close attention and listen to specifically what it is that she is going to state directly from her own mouth. Nobody is coercing her or forcing her to say these things. This is coming directly from her.
So the last video that I just posted really got me sitting back and like self-reflecting on who I was like and what the world was like when I got pregnant with my son. I got pregnant in 2010 at the age of 19. So at the age of 17, I got kicked out of my mom's house, which resulted in my mom's house getting robbed. And so she sent me to Chicago to live with my dad. I was with my dad for about 2 weeks. Baby daddy convinced his mom to get me a little mega bus ticket to come back from Chicago to Minnesota.
So let me clarify for those in the back yet again. She stated that she was kicked out of her mom's house, meaning that her mother kicked her out. Meaning that the mother couldn't, it was nothing. She was like, hey, it's nothing I can do for you. You just doing whatever it is that you want to do. You're wild, you're acting crazy. I'm going to send you to go live with your father. The father, she said that she stayed with the father. She didn't state that there was any type of problems, anything going on like she did with the mother. And she was like, well, I stayed with him for 2 weeks. Then my baby father decided to sit up there and along with his mom to get me a ticket to leave there and come to Minnesota to basically stay with them. So again, I want people to pay attention. She was acting too fast and too grown, doing the stuff that she wanted to specifically do, not following any type of rules or regulations in any one of the households, and she decided to be on her own grown thing, and then she ended up getting pregnant, being with a person that quote unquote she hates, and because she hates that person, she also hates her own son.
From there, I lived in a homeless shelter for youth until I eventually got my first apartment at 17 years old. When I was 17, I was in a program that was helping me pay rent. By the time I was 18, I had an apartment on my own. It was about $5.99 a month, and I was working full-time 40 hours a week, making $11.50 an hour. I am a Virgo, so at 18, that's my senior year in high school. So I was actually supposed to be in school, not working full-time. Like, I really had everything, my own car, my own crib, like everything. The reason why I had to work full-time 40 hours a week is because there was no help and no program for teenagers, just regular teenagers on their own. Like, I remember I went to a GED program. I got my GED. I enrolled in college, but I couldn't go to school and really focus on school because I had to work, because I had to pay my rent. I had no help and nobody to fall back on.
So this is why I don't feel sorry for a lot of women out here, because these are the things that a lot of women neglect to actually tell an honest story about. See, this is the one thing I will give her credit on, right? Even though she is 1,000% wrong on specifically what it is that she is doing to her son, I 100% agree with the fact that she is stating this part of the story, and also stating the fact that, yo, I did all of this. And look at this. I'm still taking L's. I don't have nobody to support me. But the problem within that, even though I, in a sense agree with her telling this part of the story and being truthful about it, the problem is she's still not being honest. The reason why she don't have nobody to support her is because she decided not to allow people to support her and tell her what it is that she needs to do. She decided to run amok directly in her mother's home. She wanted to do whatever it is that she wanted to do, didn't want to listen, didn't want to pay attention. Her mother was like, yo, you're unruly. I can't do nothing with you. Maybe your father can do something with you. Shipped her off to the father. And the father, again, she didn't state that anything bad was happening there. She didn't say that he was a bad parent, a bad father, whatever it was. She opted that she didn't want to stay there. More than likely didn't want to deal with the rules and dealing with being a child, which she was at that time. And she was like, yo, I'm going to take an option and I'm going to forgo both of my parents and go over here with somebody else that I don't even know, and I don't even know their parents. So she went over there. The mother of the boyfriend, during the time, the baby father, they helped her get there. But notice the mother of that guy was not the one there to sit up there and support her. Pay attention. L after L after L. And then you hear her sitting up here complaining that she has to be an adult after you done already technically emancipated yourself from both of your parents. This is what this looks like. This is what you need to be showing your daughters out here. This is what you need to be talking to your daughters about. This type of attitude, this way of thinking, this way of life, how these girls are out here moving. This is not the way. She is a great 100% example that this is not the way.
The only assistance you could really get was emergency assistance, and you were only eligible for that once a year. The only way they were giving out cash assistance, housing assistance, any type of assistance for young women back then was if you had a baby. I would see my friends with baby getting a government check every month. I see them getting their food stamps. I see some of them getting their housing. They even had programs to help you get a car, get you back in school, get you in childcare. There was literally nothing for me, an 18-year-old single adult that was actually trying in life. Nothing for me. I just saw how happy my friends looked, all the help they were getting from the government. And then the show Teen Mom on MTV was just booming like crazy. And so I want y'all to understand like how glamorized being a teenage mom was back for me in 2010. Like, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into. And that's why I want to speak out to the youth, bro. I want y'all to see how hard it is, how I'm struggling, instead of always focusing on the good.
Now, like I said before, I will give credit where credit is due, right? She is trying to convey a message directly to the young girls out here and let them know, like, yo, this is not the way. Stop focusing on all the cute stuff that you normally see, like, oh, I got my baby some J's and he in a J outfit and he got this whole thing and da 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 da. She's right. She's 1,000% right. Stop focusing on your friends in the outside picture on how it is that they pretend or seem happy, because that's all a show, because you're not with them 24/7 or 48 hours a day or 72 hours, out of the week. You're not with them 365, days of the year. You're not specifically seeing the hardships, the trauma. You're not seeing how slanted a lot of things are. You're not seeing a lot of the arguments in between her and the child's father, or the things that she has to sit up there and go through by herself, or the things that she has to have conversations with her family and different things of that nature. You're not seeing none of that. But like I said before, it's amazing how media is able to get into people's minds. And I told people about this before. I told people about this a while ago. I'm like, yo, stop allowing your kids, be monitoring what it is that your kids are sitting up there watching. If your kids are watching something at a young age, you should be watching it with them, because you can decipher what the message is, what the true narrative and the story is as a parent, as an adult, versus just allowing that kid to sit up there and do it. But yet again, let's also remember, she also, at a certain point in time in life, at a young life, she got kicked out of her mother's house. Then she got sent to her father's house, then neglected the father and decided that I don't want to be here. After only being there for 2 weeks, I don't want to be here. And she opted to go to Minnesota. She opted to sit up there and go to a whole nother state with a whole nother group of people, starting a quote unquote clean slate, and not having nobody to fall back on or to take care of her or to help her out. So, like I said before, for the women out there that's listening, that's actually paying attention, please listen to this story and teach this story directly to your young girls, your nieces, your daughter's friends, whatever it is, so that they don't end up like her, so that they don't follow the same exact track in life, thinking that everything is all sweet, and then when everything happens, now they want to fall back and act as if they're children. Oh, what was me? I need some help. I don't know what to do. No, you an adult now. You doing adult things. You wanted to sit up there and not listen to none of your parents, and you got both of your parents, still didn't want to listen to them. And look at where it put you. Look where you ended up.
Another one.
A lot of y'all don't realize, but this video, this message is bigger than me. It's bigger than my son. It's bigger than my baby daddy. If I didn't care about the younger generation, and I didn't care about the youth, and I didn't want them to be better, I definitely would keep this shit to myself. I felt alone, and I felt unloved by my family and by my parents. While I was coming up in high school, there were so many teen moms. And these teen moms would glamorize parenthood. You see them with Jordans on their kids and all these cute little pictures and all these posts about how they love their kids so much and it's their world and how much unconditional love their kids give them. I wanted that for myself. I wanted to be loved. I wanted to be cared about. I wanted to love somebody. And so I went and had a baby. I wanted a baby. That's that. I only ever planned for having a baby. I didn't plan on that baby growing up and going to elementary school or going to college and being an adult. I did not even plan for any of that because I was a stupid little girl. I wasn't thinking logically. I was thinking with my emotions.
Another one.
I did not even plan for any of that because I was a stupid little girl. I wasn't thinking logically. I was thinking with my emotions.
Another one.
I did not even plan for any of that because I was a stupid little girl. I wasn't thinking logically. I was thinking with my emotions. And so I had that baby. And my pregnancy was rough. And God tested me throughout his life. First lesson I learned was that you cannot choose the gender of a baby. I expected to have a daughter, and guess what? I had a son. Second lesson that I learned is that they eventually grow up. They do not stay babies forever. Third lesson that I learned is that you really don't know what your kid's gonna be, what they're gonna like. You can't have plans for them. I never planned on having an autistic son. I never planned on, I thought I was gonna have me a little basketball player once I found out I had a boy, and that wasn't the case. And honestly, that's okay. And then the last thing that I learned is that no matter what, his dad is not going anywhere. I could have somebody adopt my son right now, but guess what? When he goes to the doctor and they ask for family health history on his dad's side, I'm going to be talking about his biological father. The milestone that my son takes, he has to be there. He doesn't go away. Even if it's for a while, he will come back up at some point in time, him and his family. I love the youth and I care about them. And I just don't want them to make the same mistakes that I made, because it's not fair to me, it's not fair to my son, and it's not fair to his dad either.
And this is when you, in a sense, start to see maybe a little bit of shining, glimmering hope in some people. You were able to see through 3 different clips the transition of her, right? Now, the one main thing that I want y'all to pay very close attention to in the second video, she specifically stated, I'm sorry, the third video, the last video, she specifically stated that I did this for I. Me, 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 me. Notice she wasn't thinking about or talking about nobody else. She wanted to have a child because she wanted to feel loved. She wanted to have a child because everybody else had one. She wanted a child because it looked nice. It seemed nice. It was glorified. This is the message that was given to her, on top of the fact that she was already a broken individual. She wanted to have a child because she felt lonely, not because she wanted to bring a life into this world in order to be a better version of her. She stated that originally, and it showed in the very first 2 videos, as she was, in a sense, stating, trying to get through to everybody else. You could clearly see that she was not up for having a boy. You can clearly see that that is not what she wanted. If she would have had a girl the way that she wanted, she would not have made a video talking about, oh, my kid didn't sit up there and go to school. You know, it took him 4 hours to basically get there because I had an argument with the father. No, because you would have saw yourself within that girl and you would have wanted that girl to be a better version of you. You can't see yourself in your son and want your son to be a better version of you. It's impossible. He don't walk the same way that you walk. He don't talk the same way that you talk. He don't think the same way that you think. He is not going to sit up there and go through life the same way that you went through life. But now, due to the fact of a lot of the things that have transpired in life, due to the fact that you didn't want to listen to nobody, you didn't want to pay attention. And more than likely, again, this is only a portion of the story from her side. She said that she felt alone, right? That she wasn't loved. Right? She was making it seem as though she's not accepted by any of her family just for some magical reason. Just out of the blue, as soon as she was born, everybody was like, yeah, we don't care about you. We don't mess with you. We don't deal with you. You might be blood, but we don't know who you is. So this is, like I said before, this is why it's very important to pay attention to a lot of these people out here when it is that they happen to open up and tell a lot of these stories, because they'll actually tell you more than what it is that they're specifically stating to you on video. You have to, in a sense, look in between the lines. But again, the main thing that I'm stating is specifically to the black women out here. Start talking to these young girls. Stop always trying to talk about, oh, the father this, the father that, the father this, the father that. The father was there. The father was there. She opted not to want him in her life. She was like, I'm out of here, Pops. I'm going to be with my boyfriend. I'm about to go be with my baby daddy and his mom. I'm about to go do that. That's what she opted to do. Like I said, there are things that black men have to fix out here in the black community, and they're specifically some things that black women need to work on and fix in the black community. This is one of the top priorities because this is a lot of your daughters out here because y'all ain't being mothers. Y'all ain't talking to them. Y'all trying to be a friend or a best friend and all this other type of stuff. Or you see your daughters as competition. Either which way, all of it is wrong and you're not doing the things that you're specifically supposed to be doing. If you know that you cannot be a good, positive black female role model for your daughter, hopefully you can give your daughter up to somebody, to a woman in a family that can do a better job than you. It makes no sense for you to keep a daughter and to make her as broken and as jaded and as hurt or as hardened as you are. That makes no sense. She don't deserve that. When a baby is born with a clean slate. They're not born so that a parent can sit up there and throw all of their trash and their garbage directly on that child's shoulders so that they got to sit up there and walk with the curses that you couldn't get rid of. That's wrong. And this is why I said before, a lot of y'all don't need to be having kids, and I stand by that. Because a lot of y'all too broken and a lot of y'all too emotional.